This huge expanse of desert here is known as the Colorado Plateau. It pushes west from the Rockies across fault lines and out into the desert. It's such an extreme environment. The people who lived here in ancient times had to be painstakingly efficient in how they lived. There was a reason behind everything they did and everything they made. And there's no better example of that efficiency than the Anasazi people, who dominated the Four Corners region from Colorado and Utah to New Mexico and right here in Arizona over 1,000 years ago. I've spent my career traveling around the world learning about ancient civilizations, and I'm excited about the evidence that point to the earliest communities and how they lived. Prior to 1963, when the Glen Canyon Dam was built and Lake Powell was formed, most of these slot canyons were bone dry, making the climb to the bottom much steeper. As you hike up from the water, you start to notice different things. First thing you notice is all sorts of caves in here. Now, these may have been used as ancient dwellings. The other thing you notice is that it's really steep here. Luckily, there are these indentations in the rock that look a lot like stairs, and that's because they actually are. These are known as Moki steps. They were hand-carved into the rock by ancient people nearly 1,000 years ago. Back then, it was about 500 feet from the rim of the canyon down to the bottom. And so they built these natural staircases to help get up and down. And hundreds of years later, they're still doing the job. You know, seeing this ingenuity in the face of such raw adversity out here is really inspiring. And what these ancient people have left behind, these steps and these cave dwellings, you know, they're just traces. They're just these tiny whisperings from their civilization, but they speak volumes. You know, this really gives us a window into their way of life. And it's a way of life that seems so different than our own. It's a way of life in which everything seems to have a purpose. You know, when we think about ancient cultures like the Anasazi, we tend to think of things in an archaeological sense. We look at artifacts and we look at empty cave dwellings, and we sometimes forget about the fact that these were people. And coming here to where they lived and where they thrived, we can learn about our past, but I think if we're lucky, if we listen really carefully, we can also learn about our future. When I explore an ancient culture like this, what I really want is to be able to put myself in their place. And when you stop to appreciate the landscape, you start to appreciate the ingenuity, resourcefulness, and tools that let an entire civilization thrive in such a harsh, unforgiving, and yet beautiful place. They forged a deeply personal connection to nature, and by soaking that in, I can appreciate each new place and each new discovery.